I lost my family, my immediate family, my friends, my whole social network.
Yeah.
It was everyone that I was closest to now all of a sudden won't talk to me.
Right.
And just from leaving or just from saying, I no longer think I believe this anymore, then I automatically, okay, then they can't talk to me anymore.
Right.
And that is something that is huge. It's a huge loss in your life. This is Glamorous and Polyamorous,
a show about exploring polyamory and other forms of non-monogamy after religion.
I'm Kelly Smith.
And I'm Xavi Benjamin. We're talking about the importance of community when you leave religion.
Yeah, I feel like community is such a big part of everyone's life that leaving everything can be such a big deal, such a giant step.
I mean, we have an outline, obviously. We're talking in different segments. I think the first one that we want to kind of touch on is the power of community. And I think that this happens for any person that leaves religious beliefs behind to a certain extent. You lose community, you lose friends, because you're just entering a new era of your life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like whether you come from a high control, religion like us or any other kind, I would imagine you would lose people because you don't believe anymore,
Right.
Or maybe your beliefs have changed to something else.
I feel like for most people, I don't think leaving, if you have disagreements, maybe most people, and if you have disagreements in your family or religion, you don't lose them automatically.
Right.
But that's something that we both had to deal with.
Right.
Once you don't believe it anymore, you lose everything.
And I think that is what's unique about our particular situation. And I think that that's why it's important for us to talk about this experience, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because for me, I lost my family, my immediate family, my friends, my whole social network.
Yeah.
It was everyone that I was closest to now all of a sudden won't talk to me.
Right.
And just from leaving or just from saying, I no longer think I believe this anymore, then I automatically, okay, then they can't talk to me anymore.
Right.
And that is something that is huge. It's a huge loss in your life. So to build that back up, to build up that network again can be very hard to build.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and I think I do feel in this situation, it's important to talk specifically about the experience of Jehovah's Witnesses, because that's the experience that I understand. So in my case, the religion teaches that you don't talk to people that don't believe anymore.
Right. You can no longer, you can't hang out with anyone that doesn't.
Yeah. And so I do think that that's special, granted that there are other religions that do that, Scientology and things like that. Mormons as well. And so I think that that's what was really tough for me, is that, it's kind of weaponized against you to a certain extent. It's one day everybody can talk to you and the next day they can't.
Yeah.
And that, that was really clear the times that I'd been disfellowshipped previously, because I feel like when I was disfellowshipped, that's basically what it was. One day everybody was pretended with me. And then after this announcement, everybody pretended I was dead.
It's so wild when you think about it, but that yet in the witness community, that is so normalized.
It is.
Yet it's
it's very normal. Yeah.
It can even be someone in your own house. You can no longer talk to them anymore, or it has to be only about specific things.
Right.
In the end, that was something that was said that is discussed a lot right now, especially with the cases going in Norway and things like that disfellowshipping or shunning should not be a part of it. It should not be allowed. I feel like it is something shunning is a type of psychological what's the word I'm trying to think of?
Abuse.
Abuse. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It's a type of, just, it can negatively impact someone so much by not being able to talk to their family anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, I remember when my dad was disfellowshipped when I was a teenager, you know, there were certain things that we weren't supposed to talk about anymore when he was disfellowshipped. And then I got disfellowshipped like shortly afterwards. And so it was like, I guess it was canceled out, you know, and so then we would talk about things. I don't know, you know, but like there are these things that I see that I look back on that don't make sense.
Right. There's a lot
that have to do with that, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like, you know, ultimately, I think the hard thing about leaving a religion like Jehovah's Witnesses is that it is such an insular community. Mm-hmm. You are told only to make friends with these people, only to associate and you know, get married, have relationships with people who are Jehovah's Witnesses. And like, and also I think it's worth mentioning, like, they don't tell you just any Jehovah's Witness. Like, they're constantly telling you they better be devout Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
They better be fanatical, basically, Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Yeah. For you to consider them friends, for you to want to marry them.
Right. Especially for marriage. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then your whole life is only with Jehovah's Witnesses.
Right.
And then suddenly you have nobody.
Yeah.
You have nobody. And I think that's what was really hard for me, is because we, like, I stopped going in June of 2019. And so then right after that, COVID started and the lockdowns happened, and like no one was going out. No one wanted to like do any meetups or anything like that, you know? And so like, I have never felt more lonely than at that time, I feel.
Yeah. Same. I feel like that year
so hard.
Was so hard. 2020 was so hard for a lot of people. Everyone was just so ready to get out and to be around people again. Yeah. Be in the open air instead of just being cooped up in your house. That people wanted to get together and hang out, because you want to hang out with your friends. That's something that everyone wants to do. Yeah.
And so I think this is also why I created North County, you know, San Diego Polyamory, because I felt like I needed community. Yeah. And I think that it's important to have community of people that understand you, that understand your relationship style. Yeah. And I think what's really tough, and I think I've talked about this with a lot of different people, is like religion. That's kind of the thing that it's got going for it, you know, has kind of been the community. Right. And a lot of people like it for that, you know? And so, but there has to be avenues of community outside of religion, right? There has to be.
And you get so used to seeing people because, like, let's say, for instance, in the religion that we used to belong to, we would for sure see people 2 times a week. Right. And many times more than that. Right. But at least 2 times a week, you would be able to see your friends and hang out with your friends. Right. And if not more than that.
And then you realize real life isn't like that.
Right. Yeah. You don't get to see the people that, if you're just hanging out, it's hard to do. It can be hard to do because everyone's got different schedules and everything. Yeah. But that's why I feel like meetups have been such an important part of our journey into polyamory, because you get to know people, you get to see people. It becomes like a support group. Right. You can talk about the same type of things that you're going through with within your relationships, but also things that you haven't dealt with, and you get to learn experiences from other people as well.
Yeah. I mean, so also during the pandemic, I created XJW and Polyamorous on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And we did those Zoom meetups. I don't know how regular they were, but
once a month, I think.
I felt like that was a really nice thing during that time.
Yeah.
And kind of helped me make a few friends at first too,
Yeah, I think that was really important, especially going into the pandemic, going into lockdown. Yep. Nobody could talk to anybody. So the Zoom meetups were a great way to meet people that were going through the same thing that we were and be able to talk about it, to be able to see them, meet people from that you wouldn't normally even be able to meet because they live in different states or whatever.
Right.
I think that was such a great way to dive into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, some of those friendships have really been huge in my life that I made,
Definitely.
I mean, I was one of those people that was like, I'm fucking done with Facebook, And
I wasn't even on Facebook.
I know, you weren't even on Facebook. But then the pandemic hit and I was like, I guess I'm getting back on Facebook, because I heard that's where supposedly these groups were, and it turned out that some of the San Diego poly groups were kind of like mostly kind of crickets,
Right. During 2020, I think everything kind of just slowed down and stopped happening.
Yeah. But, all right. How do you feel your experience has been at poly meetups? Like, and I guess maybe we can explain a little bit about like how they function. I guess, it's not like anything out of the ordinary. I feel like people just meet up.
Right.
Usually
there's an app called Meetup.
Right.
Where you can go and find anyone, a group of people that want to see, let's see, Disney movies. You can see if they want to meet up. Right. I think we went to a few of those where it was a meetup at the movie theater to watch geeky movies.
And that wasn't even connected to polyamory.
No, it was just a movie like that if you like geeky movies. Right. But I think my journey into going into meetups was I love it because I love to get to talk to people in person. For me, I don't really like online things, online apps or talking with people because I need to read and see and feel body language I enjoy that much more than talking to someone over the phone or texting or chatting online. Yeah. I like to meet people in person and get to know them and just kind of read off of each other's energies and see if it's good vibes. I hate it when people say that, but
see if it's good vibes.
But I feel like for me, meetups were so difficult because I am a more quiet person, I would say. Yeah. And so it can be so intimidating to go into a meetup where there's a lot of extroverts or a lot of social people or people who haven't talked to anybody and now they're at this meetup and want to talk to everybody and tell you their entire life story because they don't get to talk to anybody at home. There's that type of people too. There's so many different varieties and types of people. That's what I find the most enjoyable about meetups is that there's so many different kinds of people, so many different personalities.
That's true.
All in one place. But yet you can have the same common theme, which happens to be polyamory. Right. Or there can be another type of aspect to that. And that is what the meetup is about. But I feel like for the most part, at least you have something in common, one thing that you can talk about. Right. And that has been a real game changer for me because I feel like you get to chat with other people and talk to people you normally wouldn't have.
Yeah, I think that is really cool. I think that I think it really depends on the meetup too. Yes. Because I think there are certain meetups that I go to that feel very welcoming, that feel like people are open to meeting new people, that they want to have conversations with new people. They're open to me, just like not having a closed group, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there are other events that feel more cliquey, and they feel, more like, oh, it kind of feels like everybody here knows each other already.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I feel sometimes I wonder like if the meetups that I host feel that way sometimes too, because it ends up being a lot of the same people, we I think for quite a while now, I think that community has had a few like really loyal people that come to most meetups. You know what I mean? And so it's been nice to build like a relationship with those people. And that's what I think is really cool, is that there are pros and cons, I guess, to feeling like, oh, I kind of know a lot of the people here, right? Because at first I felt like I didn't really know anybody in the polyamorous community in San Diego. But I think as time has gone by, I feel like I know a lot of people in the polyamorous community in San Diego, Yeah. And that's really cool. And I feel like I've been able to make a lot of friendships through that. Especially through like the group that I organize. Like that's been an amazing way for me to meet friends. And again, like it hasn't turned into partners for me in a lot of situations, and I feel like that's totally fine. Like I do feel like I've found cool people that are in the community and make me feel like, man, it gives me a feeling of belonging, like it's cool,
Yeah. It definitely can be intimidating when especially when I first moved here to San Diego, that, everyone kind of already knows each other already, or knows of someone who knows someone who knows that person.
Right.
But yet it's also kind of fun going to meetups because each time then new people start coming to them.
Right.
And so you never know who's going to be there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so great about them, is that if there are maybe a few people that you know already, you get to see them again. But then if there is new people, you can introduce yourself. Yeah. And that's the thing, it's very difficult to go up to, it's very intimidating to go up to somebody and just start talking to them.
Yeah.
And just strike up a conversation. But yet it is still possible. Yeah. And if you just go in with a smile, that's the first start to like meeting somebody, is just smile, and then that can open it up to a conversation.
I agree with that big time, because I think I have caught myself so many times overcomplicating just being able to say hi. Yeah, I'm Javi.
Right.
Like that's it. Or hi, I'm Xavi. Whatever. Like I go by both anyway. But like I feel like there are times where I've felt like, man, it's not that complicated to just say hi.
Yeah. Right.
And my name. And
what do
just see where that goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess I feel like over time, I've tried to accept more personal responsibility for being able to just do that.
Right.
Because same. I feel like that has kind of been great sometimes, I mean, the person you're dating right now, like that wouldn't have even happened had I not just gone up to them and said hi.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like you never know who you could meet.
Right.
You never know when you could meet cool people.
Yeah. And you never know who you're going to click with.
Right.
Until I feel like you really, from reading an online profile, you can get a little bit of information about the person. But once you actually see them out in public, then you get to know that person so much better.
Right.
And you never know who's going to be there.
Well, and also that I think this, and you know, again, this is where I think like my background plays a huge factor in all of this too, because I think, again, when I was in the Jehovah's Witnesses, I was like, oh, well, you know, only these people can be my friends. Right.
Yeah.
But then as I've ventured out into the world, I realized that you can actually meet really cool people anywhere.
Right.
You can actually meet people anywhere, right? But it is really hard still. It's really hard to do as an adult because it's like, I think for me, I work from home, so I don't have work friends that I go out with or do things in person with, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure that I would do that anyway, you know? And then I wasn't allowed to make friends at school. And so, you know, there aren't really people that I keep in touch with from school, you know what I mean? So building kind of your support system and a community from scratch when you're leaving religion is really hard to do. But I think I feel grateful because I do feel like the community that I have tapped into via polyamory and like the meetups that I've gone to has been really cool. And I've met some cool people.
Yeah. I feel like I've met some really awesome people at meetups. And that's what I love about them is that you just never know who's going to be there.
Yeah. I wanted to bring this up with you too, was like, I think dating apps are also a great way to find friends. Like I feel like dating people is also a really great way of finding friends because, you know, one of my best friends is someone that I met on Facebook dating. And like we originally tried to date. That didn't really work out. But the relationship that we have now is so amazing. I would not trade that.
Yeah.
So you never know. I feel like, I think, you know, when it comes to, again, building your community, I wouldn't limit that to just going to a meetup, you know?
Right.
There are other ways to do that.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people find sometimes a common ground with other people who have left the religion. And that can be a place to start for building your community as well. Right.
Yeah. Because I mean, I joined a lot of XJW support groups early on Facebook. And I thought that those were cool. And like, I mean, I met some cool people through there that I'm still really good friends with.
Right.
You know, I met Michelle through there. Like, that's amazing. And again, I feel like that's what I'm saying. I feel like, go to a meetup, but also sign up for Facebook, you know, and see if there's, you know, see if there's a group in your local area. That's, you know, or like get onto a dating app and see who's out there, who else is out there in terms of being polyamorous. And I also think, you know, again, going back to kind of like our intersection of the podcast of like religious trauma and polyamory, I feel like I've met a lot of people who have some type of religious trauma.
Definitely.
And who are polyamorous.
Yes.
So it's like, I also think like you'll find people who you can connect with on that as well.
Definitely.
I mean, we just did. We met this couple, I think it was last weekend, right? Yeah. You know, that they left the religion. So it's like, and that happens a lot.
Yeah.
I would say that happens a lot.
There's different types of activities too. I mean, you can go to a cuddle party, you can go to a meetup at a bar, or you can go to a board game meetup. There's so many different types of meetups. If one is not your cup of tea, you can try another one. Maybe if a bar is too loud, you can try a quieter place like a game room.
Right.
There's been nature walks that we've gone on.
Right.
There's been karaoke nights. There's so many different types of meetups. It's not just...
I'm a fan of karaoke.
Yeah, you love your karaoke. But I feel like it's not just a meetup, so there's so much pressure on you have to talk back and forth to this person. You can be doing something, and that's the great thing about going to meetups.
Right. What, like, on your list, like, where would you point people
to go to?
Yeah.
I would definitely tell them to check out Facebook groups because there are a lot on there. Meetups is another one where you can try to find one. There's a new app called Bloom that you can find a lot of different events on for this area in San Diego. Yeah. But as far as other groups, I'm sure there's more.
Yeah. I mean, another place I would recommend is FetLife too.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like FetLife is kind of a great place for non-monogamous events in general, you know?
Yeah. And Instagram, even if you follow polyamorous people, I'm sure there's different events on there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like North County, San Diego Polyamory has an Instagram account now. So
yeah. There's many places you can look.
Yeah. Well, all right. Closing thoughts.
I would definitely recommend at least giving meetups a try.
Yeah.
Try to go and just put yourself out there because that's the best way to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like my closing thoughts are that leaving religion is really hard. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to lose friends and family and, a support system. And I think I spent a lot of therapist sessions talking about this. Mm-hmm. I remember talking so much about the fact that I felt like I had no friends and I felt lonely,
Yeah.
And so I think I totally agree with you. I think that the best thing you can do, and I'm so grateful that I feel like I did that after leaving, is put yourself out there, mm-hmm. is like, I don't know. I feel like there were times where I felt weird or ashamed that I was like looking for friends everywhere, seeing who I connect with, where there are people that feel like my people. Mm-hmm. And I realized that that's totally okay, and that you totally should do that, and I feel like slowly but surely I've found really cool people, and I'll continue to collect them. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Glamorous and Polyamorous. If you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe either here on YouTube. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you get your podcast. If you have left a high control religion and had to build your community from the start, we would love to hear from you in the comments of like what that experience was like for you. Or you can also email us, hello@glampolyam.com. Where can people find us, Cal?
They can find us on Instagram at glampolyam.
Yeah.
And on Facebook.
Yeah.
At glampolyam.
Yeah. Well, and anywhere you'll find us at Glam Polyam. We're also on the TikTok.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even TikTok.
Yeah, we got a TikTok.